Because Sherry could hear me.
No, I can't hear you. I don't see anything.
Well, you heard me before.
No, I didn't.
I heard it on there.
You did? Well, I'll press play again and see if that's what did it. It was something else talking. There you are. Press play. There you are. Press play. There you are.
I'm playing. Can you see me?
You're good.
Okay. Small technical difficulty here. What? But you're going to have to turn that volume off because I'm hearing echoes now. Sherry is across the table. She's going to be sort of my question person. If you have any questions, she's going to be communicating with you down on your feed on our computers. It's on the right-hand side, so you can ask questions, you can post things. I have a list that everybody gave us that we're going to go through. We just got back late this morning, about 10 o'clock. We flew all night, coming back from seeing the kids out in Arizona and Michigan. So I have a little stuffiness from some of those germs on the plane, but we'll get through all this. We have almost 700 people on our Facebook post. Right now, we have a total count for the challenge of over 3,200 people from across the state and beyond. So it's really exciting. It's more than double that we did last year. And just for a reference here, the book that we're using as our Bible is this one, the Engine 2 7-Day Rescue Diet book. Now, some of you through work last year participated and are participating again, and you chose to get this book, which the publishers had on back order. We are told that they will be shipped and should be in your buildings this week for those that are getting this book. Those veterans, all we have to say about this, there are great recipes in this book. Some of them aren't compliant with the 7-day challenge. Some of them use tofu, some of them use maybe more nuts, something else. But you guys are experienced enough who did it last year that you should be able to tell what's good and what's not. Okay? That's enough said with that. So we've had a lot of questions on Facebook about what do I eat, what do I do? And it is all in the book. And if you're on the Facebook group, we even posted a sort of a cheat sheet or a guide that is sort of a condensed version of just the main points, bullet points of this. So you can find that on our Facebook group under files. But basically, it's real simple. Fruits, vegetables, grains, and legumes. That's it. No sugar or sugar substitutes. Yes, you can use honey or maple syrup, small amounts in like salad dressings. You don't want to start ladling that into anything. Flaxseed. You can use a tablespoon of flaxseed. I have ground flaxseed, because if you have whole flaxseed, you're just going to poop it out. It doesn't get dissolved in your system and you don't get the benefits of it. So you need ground flaxseed if you're using flaxseed. And that's great. It's great for omega-3s. I have it in my cereal bowl every morning. And if you have to, just for a little sweetness, a tablespoon of raisins a day. We try to avoid dried fruit at all because they're highly concentrated sugar, and we just try to stick to good fruit. 5 to 6 walnut halves, you know, and the book, I think it says a small handful. The thing with walnuts, and I'll tell you, you don't want to use it as a snack. If you use it as a snack, you're going to get in trouble. And if you say, oh, he's not going to have a handful, well, my handful might be a different size than your handful. So try to stick to 5 to 6 walnut halves. And here's where I'll tell you should put it. If you have a salad, put it in your salad. Now, here's the reason why. In a salad, a lot of the vitamins in the salad are fat-soluble vitamins, meaning to be absorbed by the body, you need a little bit of fat. That's why a lot of salad dressings do have fat in them, but you don't need the oil in the salad dressing. But all you need is crumbled up some walnuts in there, and that's enough fat, or the flaxseed has some fat in it. That's enough to help you absorb those vitamins and minerals and antioxidants that are in all those great things in a nice hearty salad, okay? Also, you should be trying to cram in 4 cups of greens a day. Doesn't matter, whatever kind is your favorite. Broccoli, spinach, cauliflower. Just get them in, okay? It really, really helps. It helps lower blood pressure. It helps clean out the arteries. It's great for you. We started having them for breakfast, and we'll have steamed kale, and we get a maple balsamic vinegar. and drizzle that over the top. Now, what's great about the vinegar, whatever vinegar you put on, but we like the maple or just even the plain balsamic, is that it helps to create nitric oxide in your bloodstream, which is the same thing that happens when you exercise. So it's good for your arteries. It's good for you. Sodium. Look for a 1-to-1 ratio. If you're buying a condiment of some sort, look for a 1-to-1 ratio, meaning if it's 200 calories, you should have 200 milligrams of salt on there. Anything higher than that 1-to-1 ratio is probably too salty, and we're just trying to keep the salt low. Okay, I'm going to go through these so I can answer some of your questions. So I'm going to go through these somewhat rapidly. A lot of people have been looking for wraps or asking for wraps, and our favorite wrap recipe, and we haven't found better, is our wrap recipe, the sweet potato oil-free wraps. I'm going to put it in the newsletter for tomorrow. There's also a video there on this channel, actually, our Eat Plants Love channel, that shows you how to make them. They're so simple. It's so easy. It's equal portions, cooked sweet potato and whole wheat flour. If you can't take whole wheat flour because you're gluten intolerant, we actually made them at the Wine and Culinary Center with chickpea flour, and they work out just fine. They're just a little bit more fragile. You have to be a little bit more delicate when you flip them in the frying pan and cook them, but they're great. They have a natural sweetness to them. They hold up well, and they taste terrific. Portion sizes. We've had people saying, how much of this should I eat? Here is the great thing about whole food plant-based eating. Eat until you're full. And so many people, when they start this way at first, they think, I can't eat all this. I'll only have half this amount. Well, the thing is, fruits, vegetable, grains, and legumes are nutrient dense. They're not calorically dense. So it takes a lot more to fill you up. So you can
less
eat
to fill you up. So you feel like you can eat more.
Like, for instance, we can eat like tonight we had a salad the size of our head. We had these huge bowls. We ate the whole salad. Most people, that would have been serving for 4. We ate the whole thing. We each had our own bowl. And it's because it doesn't have as many calories, but it's nutrient dense. So you're going to get fuller on this, but you're not eating as many calories. To give you an idea, if you were to have a Snickers bar, the calories in a Snickers bar is equal to 3 baked potatoes. Who's going to eat the 3 baked potatoes? But those 3 baked potatoes are going to fill you up much more than that little candy bar. And the same thing goes with, you can name a lot of high calorie items, and they don't fill you up. They leave you hanging. They leave you hungry. And that's the thing. You know, you have a donut and you're not full. And your body's saying, you didn't give me any nutrients. Please give me stuff that I can actually use. And so that's the whole great thing about this nutrient density. You end up eating a lot more and you still lose weight. Don't feel guilty. But you won't have that bloated feeling like you get after Thanksgiving dinner. It's really an amazing thing. If you're looking for anything in the Facebook group, you can always search on the side in this group, and you just type in the search parameter, whatever you want to search for, and it should pop up. Or look in our files. We're constantly adding to those files to give you more and more information. And I'm sorry if you're not on Facebook. I'm going to share as much as I can through the newsletters or emails, but it is difficult. We found, and I was trying to use Meetup this year, but there's no as full-featured free thing to use for getting information out as is Facebook. So there's that. A lot of you have been asking about things like, what about popcorn? I like snacking on popcorn. Or what about this? You know, this is what I always have, what I always have. Well, the thing is, we're trying to change habits here. If you do the same thing you've always done, then it's not quite a challenge. And you're trying to break these habits. And to give you a quick aside, when this didn't happen overnight for us, when I had my heart issues, when we started transitioning it over, it took us about 6 years to get there. There were no jump starts at the time that we could do. And as we educated ourselves and found out more, we found we had to get rid of things. And especially for me, I was a baker, you know, I loved my sweet goods. It's like, what do you mean I can't have this now? You know, it's not so much that you can't have it. What is your goal? What do you want to change? If you do the same thing you've always done, you're not going to see the change that you're hoping to see. So try to break these habits that you've always done. Say, I always have this. Well, that's probably a key. Maybe you shouldn't always have this, especially if there's a goal you want to reach. Nuts and seeds, page 181 in the book, this book, 181. It gives you all the specifics. It talks about no meat, dairy, or eggs, no added oil, easy on the nuts and avocados, only a quarter avocado per meal. Don't use the nuts as a snack. Consume minimal salt and sugar. Eat 100% whole grains, and that's key. And I know a lot of people have been asking about breads. It is tough to, if you don't make your own bread, to find something that has no oil, very little sugar, and whole grain. Most breads, unless it's a nice, heavy, hearty, dense bread, has some portion of regular flour in it. And what happens is that the regular flour, the whole wheat flour, flour that's not whole grain, is stripped of the fiber and nutrients that are the good things that you want to take in. So when you eat the more processed flours, you're not getting the benefit. And that's the bad carbs, basically, the white breads. Drink a lot of water. People have been asking, can I have sparkling water? Yes. Can I have water with lemon in it? Yes. As long as it doesn't have additives like you don't want to get any of the stuff that has added sugars or fake sugars. There's been evidence that the fake sugars do the same thing in your body that the real sugar does. So it's not a benefit. And think of this, and I hate using the word, it's sort of like a detox. You are resetting yourself, is probably a better word, resetting yourself to be able to taste things and enjoy things in a way that you may never have before. So give yourself a chance these 10 days doing that. Page 184 in this book, Rip gives you a meal plan. And it's not really a meal plan in the fact that this is what you have to do, but it gives you suggestions. And Sherry and I posted one earlier in the week, just suggestions based on recipes we have or recipes we've shared. And the reason we don't set out a set meal plan is you might not like Mexican tasting food. I love Mexican tasting food. You may not like curry. I love curry. So I can't tell you what you like and should eat. But that's why if you do all the recipes out of this book, just recipes out of this book, you'll be fine. You'll be fine for the 10 days. That's all you need. And we've given you other recipe sites and resources to use. Use those recipes. You'll be fine. Okay? Don't try to recreate the stuff that you've always done. Gee, I need a cracker. I need a cookie. I need a little crunch. For 10 days, you don't need it. You want it. And there's a difference, as everybody knows, between the want and the need. Batch cooking. Batch cooking, hopefully some of you have tried it. Sherry, we got home today about 11 o'clock. We went out to the grocery store, got everything we needed, came back, and Sherry started batch cooking while I was getting ready for tonight. So hopefully you've prepared, especially preparing things for when you're going to be hungry. And if you haven't, grab some bananas, grab some apples, something especially that you can eat on the go in case you're in that bind where you say, I am starving and I need something to carry me through dinner. And like we make soups. We're planning soups all week, soups and salads. That's what we're planning all week. In fact, Sherry's going to be taking pictures of what we eat every day and posting them so you can see what we eat on a day-to-day basis and the quantities. And that's what we're going to be posting this week and eating this week. It's just a lot of soups. After being gone on vacation with relatives and stuff who maybe we didn't eat as clean as we like, we're trying to reset ourselves. We're doing the challenge too, just to get back on the right page.
And when you're ready for questions that people have asked.
Let's see. Somebody asked, what about sugar and ingredients like condiments that we get? Sugar shouldn't be one of the first 3 ingredients on the ingredient and on the condiment. So if you're reading the label, make sure it's not in the first 3. And the thing is, there's a lot of hidden sugars in there. And somebody had mentioned that. And it could be brown rice syrup, molasses. There's about 101 different ways that they put sugar in things. So sometimes you really have to read that label. Take a look at that. Somebody asked about chickpea flour. Is that good to go? Yes, it's terrific. No problems. If you're allergic to peas, lentils, chickpeas, is there another bean? Any bean, anything that you're not allergic to. Beans are one of the healthiest foods. All the people in the blue zones have legumes every day. So it is a good thing to try to get in daily. It's like a half cup, 3/4 of a cup of beans, of legumes, whether it's peas, lentils, beans, whatever, any kind. A lot of people have been asking about yogurt. Here's the thing. Try to skip the yogurt for the 10 days. I loved my Greek yogurt. It was a switch, but now I don't miss it. And the thing is, that's sort of setting you up. Well, I used to, I always, and if you go to that, it's sort of a slippery slope down into going right back into your bad habits. So just try to break yourself out of those habits. Supplements. You're not needed on the 10 days. Don't worry about that. In our last YouTube, we'll talk about where do we go from here, and if you decide to continue on with some of the stuff you've learned, what kind of things you should be looking at.
For the 10 days, your health will not be compromised. That you
yes,
need any
10 days, your health won't be compromised at all. Okay, Sherry.
Okay, so you ready for some questions?
First question.
Someone was asking what kind of storage containers to use, and I know that we have a variety, but we use mostly glass.
We do have a variety. We have a lot of canning jars, and we use those. And now they have nice plastic screw-on lids for that.
And we also, to store, like when we batch cook, we have
some of the, like taking things to work. We have small Pyrex containers with the plastic lids, or the
some things that seal.
Something that seals. There's no, we just use a lot of mason jars.
Okay. Brown rice noodles are okay. I didn't get a chance to.
Brown rice noodles are great. A lot of people, us included, when we first switched over, really the only noodles you could get were either regular noodles or whole wheat pasta. And whole wheat pasta is typically very heavy and dense. Well, we found brown rice noodles, and they're wonderful. They're a lot like the regular pasta. In fact, when our kids come home, they don't even notice that they're not real. The regular pasta when we make things for them, and it's real good. And there's a lot of variety out there now, so you can try them. If you don't like even the brown rice, you could try. They have chickpea pasta and other brands, so they're all good.
Okay. Someone was talking about having headaches. They thought maybe it was protein. I answered her briefly, but most of your headaches will be due to sugar and caffeine withdrawal. It's not going to be towards missing any kind of food group. You will have all the food you need if you heard all that.
And hopefully you heard all that. And the thing is, it is sort of a detox. It is a reset. It's like if you're a big coffee drinker and you stop drinking coffee, you're going to have 3 days or so of headaches until that goes away. It's not protein. There is no lack of protein in America. In fact, that's what's causing most of our chronic diseases is too much protein in our diet. The problem that most people have, 96% of Americans or more, have not enough fiber in their diet. And the only place you get fiber is from fruits, vegetable grains, and legumes, which we've talked a little bit about that in newsletters as well.
Okay. Someone wanted to know about, can you freeze roasted vegetables? I wasn't sure the answer to that.
I'm sure you could freeze roasted vegetables, depending. There's some things that'll always not thaw well, like peppers, onions. They always have a tendency, like even in the store, you buy them frozen basically, and then you thaw them out, but they always sort of get limp and whatever. But things like potatoes, they freeze terribly well. Very well.
Very well.
So those kinds of the watery vegetables, I'd say you'd have more of a problem with those breaking down. Like if you had zucchini, that's not going to freeze well cooked. And I'm not sure, you might be able to get away with some of that frozen uncooked and then thawed, but
things should last in the fridge for almost a week, I would say.
Yeah, in fact, the best thing about this is
they say 5 to 7 days.
5 to 6 days, most dishes last for us, and sometimes even longer. 5 to 6 is safe. The advantage is there's no egg or dairy or meat that's going to spoil and cause some of those strange things. Basically, if you see any mold, that's your sign that, hey, something's bad. So this stuff lasts pretty well. In fact, because we have no meat or dairy in our fridge, we've actually been able to turn up our fridge a few degrees so it's not as cold as it would have to be for meat. We keep it at a temperature that's good for the fruits and vegetables.
Okay. Someone was saying that their husband really likes milk in his tea and he just can't drink tea without the milk. So my answer was to just don't drink tea then for the 10 days and see how you feel. But maybe you have something else you want to say to that.
You know, it's like we're big coffee drinkers in this house, and it's one of those things we come and go with. And the only way we really like coffee is with a nice creamy thing. And Silk brand has a great coffee creamer that is not good for this challenge, and it's
not really at all. It's
a slippery slope too to go back into your old habits. And if I'm having coffee over the next 10 days, it will be black. Sherry will not have it at all. I've gotten a little bit used to it, and I like my coffee pretty strong. It's still not as good as that creamy thing. And it's that habit. And think of it as more, you know, it is a challenge. Like I had done in one post, a challenge is supposed to be a challenge. And think of, you know, test yourself. I was waiting in the airport, and this thing for Refinery 29 ad came up, and Refinery 29, it was new to me. I've seen it advertised. It's sort of a social thing for younger people than myself. And there was this young woman who gave up coffee for 5 days or a week, and she was chronicling her 5 days. And you know, the first day, massive headaches and this, and then by the end of the week, she realized that she's not giving up coffee, but it taught her a lot about herself, what she was able to do to convince herself to, hey, I do have control over this. And that was her big takeaway, that to know that, yeah, there's some habits that we don't consciously think are habits, but they are habitual, and what does that do for us? So I'd say try it for 10 days without.
I'm doing without my coffee.
Drinking more water.
Lots of water. Okay. Put some fruit in it if you need to. Let everyone know that if they are on Facebook, I am going to take pictures of what we eat every day.
I said that.
Okay. I might have been busy. I was
okay.
Typing. So does anybody have any questions? Let's see. Whole grain versus whole wheat. It has to say whole wheat. Organic durum doesn't count. Whole wheat only.
You know, I used to be bakery trainer for Wegmans, which you might have heard someplace. So I know my baking pretty well, and I know my breads pretty well. And the thing is, that recipes are very convoluted. Just so you know, if you don't already, that the first ingredient is the one that has the most ingredient in the recipe. So if it's a whole wheat bread and it says whole wheat flour, you know that is the largest ingredient in the bread. Now, if it just says wheat flour, that's not whole wheat flour. It's just wheat flour. It's just all-purpose flour. It's just a generic flour. It's interesting, and some people would quibble here, and I don't, how they make some of these fine ground whole wheat flours, where it's King Arthur has their white wheat flour or whatever, which is a whole wheat flour. They take the germ and the bran out. They grind it up real fine. They grind up the other part of the flour, the germ, and then they put them all back together. And some people say, well, you've lost some of the nutrients. I don't know how much that is true. If it's whole wheat, it's whole wheat. But you really do have to read down the list. If anything, and that's what some people have seen in the past, is they got a lot better at reading labels and seeing what is actually in some of the food we buy.
There was something I wanted to. Oh, someone's asking about the cooking class. We've got to get through the challenge first, and then we need like a little downtime because we've been churning this for quite a long time now.
The Wine and Culinary Center have asked us to, in Canandaigua, which is now the New York Kitchen. We did some cooking class last year. We're going to continue again. They wanted us to do it over the holidays. And with this getting kicked off and us running this, and as you now probably are aware, it didn't start yesterday or today. It's been going on for us for over a month, getting ready for this, and it'll continue on for the next couple weeks. So we said we just like a breather. So probably after February break, because even this past holiday break, we were writing newsletters, we were answering people's questions. It really wasn't a break. So we're going to take February as sort of our break, our winter recess, and sort of have a little downtime. And we'll pick back up probably March or so, and we'll let you know, especially if you're on Facebook group and Eat Plants Love, our Facebook group, you'll hear about us.
Someone's just asking, I was about to type, but you can answer it. Why don't we juice fruit?
It explains in the book why, and even with the fiber there, your digestion actually begins with you chewing the food. And if I were to take and make a smoothie with all this fruit, you can down a lot of calories very quickly, and that's what Rip talks about in the book. And we want to avoid drinking our calories. Now, I know some people are on the go, busy, and they find they don't have time. But here again, it's that habit. If you're in the habit of making that smoothie every morning to get out the door, that could be sabotaging your goals, especially if your goals are weight loss. It's better to eat the whole fruit for a couple reasons here too as well. When you have the whole fruit, you're getting all the fiber with that fruit in the way that nature intended you to get it. So when it goes into your body, it's saying, oh, I got an apple. Oh, and there's some sugar with the apple. I'm going to eat it. And it digests the sugar over time. So you don't have the sugar spikes, insulin spikes like you normally would. When you drink it, it goes in and your body doesn't see really any difference. It's saying, whoa, lots of sugar coming in. You get the big sugar spike. So your body doesn't really see that different, especially if you're juicing and you're pulling out the fiber, then you don't even have the benefit of that. So that's why apple juice isn't good, or any of the juices. I used to love orange juice, but I have orange juice once in a blue moon. I have apple cider during the fall when
once or twice.
Yeah, we get a quart of it, and I get it just to enjoy that apple cider flavor from my youth. So you want to try to really avoid drinking your calories. And for a lot of people, that is another change in habit.
Okay. If people have questions between now and the next time we're going to do a YouTube Live, how can they reach us?
Well, you can reach us always either through eatplantslove@gmail.com, or if you're in one of the school districts that have a plant-based coach, that some of them went through training this fall, you can always ask them questions too. And you can always reach out to us on Facebook or any of the connections that we've sent out in newsletters. And even actually in the newsletter, there's a spot on the side of the newsletter where you can respond as well. So our next time will be next Friday. Hopefully you're not all going out.
Nobody's going out drinking.
Yeah, nobody's going out drinking or out to dinner, right? Friday the 11th at 7 o'clock, same time, same sort of thing. We'll sort of make a gauge of, you bring your questions, okay, you'll be like about halfway through and you'll be saying, the good, the bad, and the ugly at that time, so you may have other questions that you wouldn't have had now.
Be patient. There'll be changes in your body, in your digestion.
Be patient. Some people may have a stronger effect than others. Some people, it takes 3 days for them to feel this great energy. Other people, it takes 5. But, like I've said before, and Sherry has, if you do it 100%, you'll have 100% results. That's our guarantee to you. And Sherry had mentioned to me earlier in the day, if people really want to, if you keep sort of a diary of what you ate and stuff, and afterwards you didn't get the results that you thought you were going to get, we can always talk about that, you know, one-on-one. You can send it to us and we can give you out pointers. And other people have mentioned similar things. You know, people from last year have contacted us and said, I'm doing it again this year, but this is what I've noticed with my cholesterol, or this is what I've noticed with, you know, my eating this year. And sure enough, if we talk, usually we can find out, oops, that's where you could have done better. So
let them know that there's going to be one Friday, and there will be another one when we're all finished. We just set that date.
The night before it ends, before this ends, we'll have our last YouTube session, and it'll be, where do we go from here? And we'll answer all your questions. We'll answer what's the difference between this, and what's off challenge, and how plant-based is different. And we'll talk about the plant-based world in general, because it's a much bigger world out there. This is just sort of that reset to help you get going. So it doesn't take you 6 years to get where we got now.
Mention Dr. Clapper. He's going to be at the Rochester Academy of Medicine.
Rochester Academy of Medicine. Dr. Clapper. Sherry just brought that up. Dr. Clapper is an amazing doctor. We've gotten to meet with him. We actually had dinner with him on a cruise last year. Amazing guy, very knowledgeable about everything plant-based. He's been doing it for over 25, 30 plus years. He used to run a clinic or work in a clinic out west. He is now retired from that and is now helping medical schools incorporate more plant-based nutrition into doctors' trainings, which is just fabulous. And he's coming to speak in Rochester.
I'm getting the date.
And Sherry's getting the date, and we'll post it on the Facebook group. I'll also put it in the newsletter for tomorrow, just so you have that information, because he's a great speaker. And
he's going to be speaking at the Rochester Area Vegan Society on Sunday night at their potluck, and then Monday at the Rochester Academy of Medicine, the 21st.
The Rochester Academy of Medicine holds about 250, 300 people.
I'm checking.
So that's a nice venue to listen to them. You'll have a nice big stage and stuff. Or the smaller venue the night before at the potluck, where
it may be Tuesday.
Either way, you can go up and sometimes ask him your personal questions, and he can help you. If you Google Clapper, K-L-A-P-E-R, Dr. Michael Clapper, he also has a great one on video online for osteoporosis and osteopenia, battling that.
So it's somewhere between the 20th and the 22nd.
We'll get the information,
and we'll send it out to everybody.
Okay. This is recorded after I end this stream. You can play it back. You can share it with friends, whatever you want to do. As of midnight tonight, it'll be the cutoff for anybody signing up, because tomorrow's the challenge, and I can't keep adding people once the challenge starts. So if there's any stragglers out there, better get your name in. Otherwise, you aren't getting the daily newsletters. And if you aren't getting daily newsletters, let us know too, and we'll make sure you do get them. So have a good night, and happy plant-based eating.
Eat plants.